well, and they haven't been asked to, because I think it's not always a context that if it's an area that you don't have to think into.
Right.
But I think there is, it is a genuine, regular thought process for me. It's one of the reasons, I mean, we've talked about this, that often I date younger men. And a lot of it is because...
Let's stop on that, folks.
What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Rome, back with another video. If you're new to the platform, welcome to the tribe. By the end of this video, I hope you subscribe. So there was a video sent to me about this Tracee Ellis Ross interview that she had with Michelle Obama, and I wanted to share my thoughts on it because I came across a few other videos of other people talking about this situation. And I sort of kind of covered this topic, I want to say a few weeks ago, about how women don't have that same energy for women dating younger as opposed to men dating younger. And to no surprise, when I look at the comments of some of this video, as well as other videos covering this, women, once again, silent, all support, for the most part, all support. But if this was a man being interviewed, better yet, if this was Leonardo DiCaprio saying the exact same thing, women would not have that same energy in the comments. And I think that's the one thing that gets lost in translation when it comes to this topic, because I noticed there was a man that said the manosphere is crashing out over Tracee Ellis Ross having all these options, when in reality it's like, dude, about 90 to 99% of those men that are options, they just want to smash and have fun with her. And if that's all she want to do, cool, so be it. But even from what I'm hearing from other people reacting to this interview, there's a sense of regret there, regardless of where y'all want to try to acknowledge it or not. But we don't see for ourselves. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in.
Yes.
All right.
More open than it should be, but I do date, and it's a fascinating adventure out there, you know. Mostly though, I think there's really good men out there. I think to a certain extent, I'm a very unique sort of unicorn of a woman. And so it's going to take a unique person. And in the meantime, I have really learned how to live my life and enjoy it and not sit around waiting. I was saying to someone recently that I'm one of the first generations of choice, and it's not anymore, which really, there was a window and that has shifted. And I do think that that's going to change dating for women so much.
When you mean you've been the sort of the product of choice.
Yeah, like the assumption of Roe v. Wade and ability for a woman to find her own delight and pleasure and choice around how she navigates dating or how one would navigate dating. And we're in a different world now. And I'm curious what that will look like. It frightens me for younger girls because of many reasons, obviously. But even with the systemic protection of Roe v. Wade, I still was coming up against the cultural norms of being a choiceful woman and owning my own body and my own choices and what it is that I'm looking for in a relationship, and the ability to negotiate in a relationship what it is you want the relationship to be between the two of you, as opposed to what society says it should be.
Well,
that's different.
I don't know that we're gonna lose that. I think women, we're used to having a say in our lives. And I don't know whether the whole movement is about sort of reharnessing us, whether is it really about,
and can that really work?
Rights? Can that really work now that women are educated and we're being raised differently? I mean, the truth is that fathers are modernized.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
mostly
they are, and if you were to ask the average man, how are you raising your daughter? because you love her. The average father that loves their daughter wants them to be excellent, you know, and they want them to have opportunity and freedom. Mean, when you think about you don't want your daughter saddle marrying some guy that chose her because he just didn't think about anything else and
who
was
believes
ready
that
at
her
the time.
body is his choice.
Exactly.
Now, I had to stop it right there because that part pissed me off. Because why did you feel the need to chime in and say some shit like that? And where the fuck are you getting this narrative from? Nah, seriously, fellas, bruh, about 95% of y'all that watch are men. In the comments, please let me know, who do y'all know or y'all selves, have y'all ever considered a woman's body being your choice? What man has ever said that or thought that? I haven't come across any man like that ever. Where the fuck are they getting this shit from? And I find it really funny that Michelle Obama mentioned that most men are modernized, but you conveniently leaving out the part where women are modernized too, but still holding men to traditional standards. But it's about to get murky as you see Tracee talk some more. Let's keep it moving.
So I don't think a lot of leaders are thinking about that. You know?
Well, and they haven't been asked to, because I think it's not always a context that if it's an area that you don't have to think into.
Right.
But I think there is it is a genuine regular thought process for me. It's one of the reasons, I mean, we've talked about this, that often I date younger men. And a lot of it is because...
Let's stop on that, folks.
Oh my God, we had a great dinner. We had a great dinner, by the way, where across the table, your husband goes, "But why?" And I said, "Well, maybe because I can."
Yes, Harish. This is why I'm saying tales from Tracee's.
It's fun. It's very fun to share.
Tracee tales.
But
you date a younger woman.
But one of the reasons, though, that because I had to ask myself that question, I was like, "What is this about?"
Yeah.
Because I want a partner, and so often, and it's not just that I'm older. I'm also very embodied. I am a full, very whole person who knows myself, who is in charge of my life, and who lives a very full, just robust life. So it's not just age, it's like life experience and sort of a difference. But I had to ask myself the question, why? Why does this keep sort of coming up other than they're hot and gorgeous?
There's that.
There's that. But a lot of men my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity and have been raised in a culture where there is a particular way that a relationship looks. And anything that starts to smell of that for me, I did enough of it where I was controlled and felt like I was a possession or whatever those things were, or prize, and I have no interest in it, and I will not do it again.
Translation, I was in a more traditional setting relationship and I didn't like it because it came with boundaries and standards. And I date younger men because they just let me do whatever the fuck I want, as long as I give them some box and my time every now and again. I just gave you the shorter version. Let's keep it moving. Yeah, tell me if that ain't got no kind of accuracy to it.
Sorry,
No,
Craig.
I was going to say, it's a generational thing? So it didn't matter how you met them, or is it just kind of the guys you're meeting?
That's obviously...
Too big of a generalization.
It's a generalization, but because I have dated men my age, there is a difference. There is an openness that occurs with a younger man around whether it's gender fluidity or not even having an issue with homosexuality. I mean, something as basic as that there's times where I'll be sitting across the table from somebody and just like, what did you just say?
Yeah, what century are you?
Like, oh my God.
Where's your horse and buggy?
Yeah, like, I'm so sorry.
And your bedpan.
Yeah, for real.
Chamber pot.
Yeah, your chamber pot. Your chamber pot. Like, where I'm just like, yeah, this is not a match.
Yeah.
And I have long been past the age where I feel like it's my job to teach somebody or grow them up.
Yeah.
That I'm not interested in. So, but it's interesting. I mean, there's so many different philosophies on dating, and I have come up with mine. I have come up with what works for me and what makes sense for me and what feels safe for me.
Yep.
I mean, like, I'm not on dating apps. I have friends that have great success with dating apps, but that's just not something I'm comfortable with.
So you're meeting folks in the wild then?
That's the only way for me. Or someone sets me up, or I meet them at an event. I meet someone. It's usually people that also have a level of recognition that they have as much to lose as me to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't had great luck lately, but I do have to say I'm moving up on what it is that I'm looking for as a match. Yeah. I've had some doozies. Yeah.
So in other words, she's suffering from what a lot of older, successful women are dealing with, trying to find a man that is on her level financially or higher. That's why she said people who have as much recognition as me and something to lose. That's what she meant. She just said that to try to make it more digestible, but she's basically talking about somebody on the same financial level as her, or even social level as her, as far as her being a celebrity. Now, there's been a lot of rumors of her dating other, younger men that are celebrities and whatever the case. But keep in mind, Tracee Ellis Ross is 52, still hasn't been married, still hasn't having any children. And from what it seems like to me, you have fallen for what a lot of women have in America. It's the okie doke of being successful. And now you're kind of stuck where you want to be partnered up, but you only want to date younger men because you want to be able to do what the fuck you want to do, but you don't want to deal with the older men because you don't want to deal with the boundaries and the standards that come with dealing with a man your age or older. So now you're kind of stuck in limbo where you pretty much have to deal with the YNs just so that way you can get the kind of attention that you're looking for. Now I want to share a video of a conversation between Joe Budden and Melissa Ford, because apparently I guess they got another heated conversation about this, but we really shouldn't be surprised. This Melissa Ford, she's not that much younger than Tracee, so it kind of makes sense, because I'd imagine she's probably on the same boat as her, where she doesn't want to deal with men her age because she doesn't want to. They on the same boat. Y'all know where I'm going. Anyway, let's get to it.
On your lived experience.
Well, what else do you go based off
versus getting new experiences?
Well, that's what she's saying. She's accumulating new experiences, dating younger men who seem to have a less traditional way of thinking, and they're a little bit more fluid in their way of thinking and acting. That's what she also goes on to say after that.
So you're sliding.
Whatever you want to describe it as.
She's sliding them. She's sliding them.
Whatever you want to describe. Listen.
That just sound like justifying toxic femininity.
Why is this? What does toxic femininity have to do with this particular situation? She's not sitting up there talking about feminism and being a feminist. Her lived experience is, you're right, she's Diana Ross's daughter. She's been famous since she was in the fucking womb. She's a fucking unicorn. And I use that term because there really is not a lot of women or people that can understand what her life has looked like, being famous from being a child and living, and probably having access to wealth, and then becoming famous in her own right and having an enormous amount of success from girlfriends and then Blackish. Like, her lived experience is extremely unique. And so it's really difficult to apply everyday kind of standards and thoughts to what she's experienced.
Man,
Okay, hold up for a second.
I agree.
That was awesome, first of all.
Thank you.
But it's still both of those things can be true.
Yes.
I'm who I am, the same way these
you're right.
Wait, I want to start before I forget, because you asked me a question. I think anybody operating from I think anything that's operating in trauma or rooted in trauma is toxic. Guy or girl.
Ooh.
Okay, so why are you using the word trauma, though?
Because you said she's based on her past life
lived experience
and trauma with these types of controlling men.
You all use the word trauma. I just said lived experience.
But
I'm not using the word trauma.
But
you didn't. He did.
Let me land,
okay.
and then have a blast with it. When I mentioned getting new experiences, you countered with her lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are afraid of new experiences or shaping your experiences to only be one way because of your trauma from your lived experiences,
cut that oven on.
I'm calling that trauma, which is why I highlighted Tracee Ellis Ross's ability to get any man in the world, and there's 7 billion men in the world.
Yeah.
1. 2, I think I think the mere existence of her contradicts her point. Because her point is, I'm this age. The men that I'm meeting in my age bracket are leftovers. I'm running into the worst of the worst.
Your words, not hers.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
Oh, that's what I'm getting from what. Oh, okay. All right, so maybe I'm off base.
I can tell you what I got from what she's saying is
the dating pool and niggas my age. It ain't it. I
ain't even going that far with it.
Go ahead.
The shit she's been around and she's into, men her age ain't into. And when she try to get into it with them, it's no. And that's where that toxic masculinity part comes in, because everybody say, when you're speaking about fluidity and willing to try and allow other shit, the younger niggas is with that today. So she's like, I like this because I get to do more to
I think that's a crock of shit. That men are not a monolith.
I'm not saying a monolith, but a lot
that's the part
older,
I thought Mel ain't. Men are not a monolith. So don't tell me that there's not a man in your age range.
We playing percentages.
To some of the things.
We playing percentages. So the nigga she shot at her age range, her percentage at getting off what she might want to get off ain't high.
I'm not mad.
But when you play with the younger ones, I could get it off.
I'm not mad
because of who I am. But it does, they're gonna let me do what the fuck I want to do.
But it does come off like I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Okay, so
yes, that's exactly what it is, bro. It's fun, and it's so funny because when the roles are reversed, women are quick to say, "Oh, you just want a younger woman because she lets you do whatever hell you want." Oh, and you expect us to believe that older women dating younger men, they ain't doing it for the same reason? Huh? So that logic don't apply to y'all now because y'all just so fucking morally superior than men. Bitch, please. Y'all get with these younger men for the exact reason why he just said. Because there's certain shit that they will let y'all get away with that older men are not going to let y'all get away with. Then that y'all know damn well if the roles were reversed, you wouldn't want your man doing that shit.
Hold on one second here. Y'all are on the same wavelength with
I'm agreeing with
which she might be. She might be an undercover freak. Okay, let's put that to the side. You were going to say something.
I was going to say that she brought up the men in my age range are X, which is a huge generalism about men her age.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm her age.
Okay.
She's 52, I'm 49 years old.
Yeah.
So you can't judge all men
but you're taken. She's not referring to the men.
Please, Mel, let me finish my sentence.
Go ahead.
Yo, you can't take all of these men that are in that age range and say that they are all suffering from toxic masculinity. Had a man been on that interview and stated those same exact things about women in his age group, you would have found that offensive. Right? So you don't find it offensive because she brought up her past traumas that Joe said about controlling men or men that were X, all of these negative things that she lived in her past life experiences. If a man was saying that those things and he justified all older women as being X, y'all would say, nah, he just able, he rich, he can control these young bitches because they weak of mind.
See, that's the point I was trying to make. Maybe I articulated myself wrong. What I get from her is there's piss in the dating pool of men her age. And to say that, like putting it in reverse, like a man can't say that because there is a Tracee Ellis Ross out there that is single, successful, and in search of something. Why does she think the same can't be said for her? You can meet somebody.
I think. I'm sorry.
So you can throw a rock and hit a podcast of men talking about how used and washed up women over a certain age is. That is a fact.
Don't start talking about these incel.
I'm not talking about that. He made a point about if it was in reverse and it was a man saying this sort of thing, in reverse, that we'd be totally offended. Yes, it is offensive, but I can't not hear that because it is so prevalent.
Please address the point.
I'm addressing something that you said. So
I didn't say nothing about no other podcast. I'm talking.
No,
about
you made it seem like it was just like what she thought is. You made it seem like if a man said what she said is not like the common shit right now. I can't, I'm trying to say how prevalent that idea is.
Has nothing to
do
with
but the men that, wait, hold up, because I like that. The men that say that, like I just called them there's a community, there's names for them. Incels, red pill. We talking about Tracee Ellis, Ross.
Okay.
See, even that highlights the difference.
Okay, so hold on one second here. Now going back to Tracee Ellis Ross. You cannot be in all places at the same time, and as it relates to dating, okay? So, for example, I'm single. Do you know how much advice, unsolicited advice people give me about dating? A ton. I'm just going to tell you a lot. You know what you should do? You know where you should go? You know what I was thinking? No, I don't. I didn't ask, but you're going to fucking tell me anyways. This is what happens to women frequently, is we get unsolicited advice as to where we're supposed to be. It would literally be a full-time fucking job trying to position ourselves to be available to wherever these men are, because you can't be in all places all at the same time and also fucking run your life, have a career. It gets difficult. Like, it's not as simple as everybody wants to make it seem. Like, she's Tracee Ellis Ross, so she should have like pick of the litter. That's not necessarily true.
Oh, you're moving the goalpost.
I'm not moving the goalpost. I'm not moving the goalpost. I'm referencing the things that she was saying. When she talks about, she goes on to talk about, the fact that she's child free and never got married and that sort of thing. I think that even just kind of putting herself out there to even have that conversation was just a level, and you guys are gonna fucking
so brave.
I do think that is brave because she leaves herself very open to a lot of criticism and judgment for people to say that was your choice, you made that choice, blah blah blah. When it's just like life just ebbs and flows and takes you in different directions, and your priorities are what they are. Like, they change vastly. You just can only go with the tools that you have at the moment that you fucking have them.
To say that is against the power of manifestation, by the way.
Okay, I'm not.
To say that life just comes and goes.
I'm not talking.
That just makes everybody sound like
a
helpless
piece.
Sleep? That just makes. I did. But that just makes everybody sound like a helpless piece of shit.
But not everybody manifests.
Yeah, not everybody.
Not everybody is into manifestation. Not everybody thinks about. That's your bag. And you talk about it constantly. But not everybody thinks about manifestation or believes in manifestation.
Do you think that
And Joe Budden need to shut his ass the fuck up? Because I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, you literally talk about the same topics that people in the RP community talk about. So to sit over here and try to shit on the RP community like you so much fucking better, like, boy, go on somewhere. Because for her to sit over here and try to say that you can throw a rock and it'll land in any podcast to say women our age are washed up and left over and yada yada and this and that. Okay, I could say the same thing about female podcasts that shit on older men for dating younger women. We can do the exact same fucking thing. And it's literally the same, and it literally touches the same topic. So what the fuck are you saying? That doesn't hold any fucking weight. I think they need to understand that when y'all are on these podcasts and having these kind of conversations, y'all need to understand the difference between saying something that holds weight and is actually a valid point, as opposed to just saying shit to try to level the playing field of the conversation to make yourself feel better. That's a lot of what I see in these conversations.
I wish more women knew that not seeing the life that we thought we would have come to fruition is actually grief. Tracee Ellis Ross just named that particular type of grief. She said that she often finds herself mourning not being partnered and not having children. That type of grief hits very differently, right? You're not missing someone who left, okay? You're missing someone who never even showed up. You're grieving someone who was never even born. And I find it so fascinating because being single in this society is such a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it is glamorized. It's soft life, me era, solo travel vibes, all the things. And then on the other hand, it's stigmatized, quietly judged, like there has to be something wrong with you, which we know that that's not the case, right? But the craziest part is that for this type of grief, there is no ritual. There is no funeral or memorial service like when we lose somebody in the physical realm. There is no divorce party when you finally leave that man. No outpouring of love and gifts and support when you miscarry a child. There is no closure. Even as a friend, I've had to check myself, right? Because my instinct is to fix it, to throw a solution at it, to cheerlead, to play matchmaker, make sure that they know that they are so much more than being someone's wife, being someone's mother. But real support is just sitting in it, sitting in the discomfort. It's to say, I see you. Not necessarily, oh girl, be patient. He's coming when the time is right, because that's not necessarily the case either. Because here's the truth. Being partnered does not guarantee you won't be lonely. Shout out to Cecilia Regina and her Lonely Wife series. If you know, you know. So maybe the real life, the real glow up is in learning to grieve what never was, what never might be, and still learning to build a beautiful life anyway.
Recently saw a video of actress Tracee Ellis Ross talking about her struggles of dating, and it was very well articulated, and I respect what she had to say, but I do have a major critique. One of the things she said is that a lot of men her age exhibit toxic masculinity. But the only problem is there is no such thing as toxic masculinity. That's like saying foolish wisdom, or darkly light-skinned, or slowly fast. A lot of the things being deemed toxic masculinity are things that aren't masculine at all. An emotionally abusive man who takes advantage of women, that's not masculine. Someone using their physical power to bully people they claim to care about, that's not masculine. Being a tyrant who doesn't look out for your loved one's best interests, that's not masculine. Masculinity is consciousness, awareness, decisiveness, wisdom. Masculinity is mental, spiritual, emotional control. Masculinity is being a person of your word, standing by your commitments, being a person that's honorable. Masculinity is discipline. Masculinity is looking out for the best interests and well-being of those who you're responsible for. If it's toxic masculinity, then it's not masculinity.
I agree with that, brother, 100%. It's just bad traits, toxic traits, because women can be toxic too. Women literally come on TikTok and talking about how toxic they are. So let's stop it with the toxic masculinity. I'm like, you can tell the moment she started using words like that and then mentioning Roe v. Wade, that right there already lets you know that she probably doesn't consider herself a feminist, but she definitely follows the feminist ideals. Clearly, that's why she wants a man that's more modernized, but only wants to deal with men on her level or more. I wonder why. Probably the same reason as all these other women that have that want the same thing. We all know why. Anyway, y'all let me know what you thought about this. If you're new to the platform, please subscribe. OGs, I appreciate the love and support. Make sure y'all hit that bell notification. That way y'all know when I'm uploading. Hit the like button because that's with the algorithm and helps me reach a broader audience. Also look out for the travel vlog channel as well as the live channel. Both links are in the description. Until the next video, y'all. Deuces.